Hey everyone, it's Phoebe. As always, I hope that you're safe and well and, coping with this social distancing and the self-isolation. It's not easy, is it? Especially for those living on their own. It's some people are getting cabin fever, aren't they? It's just so difficult and not very nice. So I do hope that you're all safe and well. I really do. And let's hope that there is an end in sight at some point. Okay, so just a quick video to show you today, and then we'll chat about it. For any AD supporters here, please don't come here and watch my channel and then leave nasty comments. Please don't call me nasty names. Just stay away. You know I'm not a fan of AD. You know what to expect on this channel. So please, just don't watch. Nobody forces you to watch. Nobody forces you to make nasty comments. Most of them end up in my... Every creator has like a special inbox for comments with nasty words in them, and YouTube bots just automatically pick them up. It's called something like waiting for approval or something. So I have to go in and approve the comments or decline them. And most of you guys, your comments end up in that inbox because they're just so nasty and horrible that the YouTube bots pick up on them. So what does that say? So if you've got something constructive to say, we can have a healthy debate. I'm happy to answer any questions, happy to explain anything, but don't come here and leave nasty messages and call me nasty names. It's uncalled for, it's not necessary, and it's just childish and immature. Okay, sorry about that guys, but I just had to say it. So let's just have a little look at this clip, and then we'll have a chat in a moment.
Seems a nice character before the event. After the event, now he's where he should be for the rest of his life. But that doesn't excuse the others that were pushing him, the others that are influencing him, the others that made him do all these things. If you murdered your children, you would know if you strangled them or smothered them, right? He didn't. I believe at the trial was the first time he heard that they died. I really do.
So, Armchair Detective has stated that Chris Watts said that he had strangled the children when they were in fact smothered. And yeah, that's correct. But that, according to AD, insinuates that Chris Watts didn't know what happened that night. He didn't know what went on. Well, I fully believe that Chris Watts did this all on his own, with no help from anybody else. And maybe it was just a slip of the tongue on Chris Watts's part. Maybe he just was under pressure or said the wrong word. Strangled instead of smothered. It doesn't mean that he didn't know what happened. It doesn't mean that he didn't kill his children and his beautiful, darling wife. Let's just have a little look at that same little sentence, and we'll see how easy it is to have a slip of the tongue, AD.
If you murdered your children, you would know if you strangled them or smothered them, right? He didn't. I believe at the trial was the first time he heard that they died. I really do.
So, Armchair Detective, you made a slip of the tongue there, didn't you? Because you said you don't believe until the trial that's when Christopher Watts found out what had happened. And there wasn't a trial, was there? It was a sentencing hearing that you're referring to, I think. So it's so easy just to, say the wrong word. And that is perhaps what Christopher Watts did when he said, I don't want to keep saying those words. When he said the wrong word, let's put it like that. Just because you said trial, that doesn't mean to say that you don't know anything about the case, does it? Because obviously you do. You just got your words mixed up. I'm not condemning you for that. I'm not, saying anything bad about it. I'm just trying to state that it's very easily done. And perhaps that's what happened when Christopher Watts said what he said. In no way, shape or form does it mean that he can't remember, he doesn't know what happened, he didn't do it, or whatever your narrative is now. It's changing all the time, isn't it? So let's just have another look at another, sorry, no, not another look. Let's have a little look at another clip that I just want to have a quick chat about.
Whoever he's protecting, they're protecting. They've destroyed the proof under the fingernails of whose DNA it was. Gone now. Gone. I slammed the door on that. So now we're back to getting him to tell us the frigging truth. And we will get there if we get support of you guys.
Okay, so just a couple of things I wanted to address there. Firstly, this DNA. Well, he's criticising law enforcement again, isn't he? They've destroyed the proof from underneath the fingernails. Well, if we have a look at the plea agreement, it does say something about the DNA in there. It's not very clear though, but I'm no legal expert. I wonder if anybody has got any legal expertise here. But it does say, I'll pop it up on the screen for you. It does say, there's two boxes, one's yes and one's no. I'll only refer to the DNA. Law enforcement holds evidence that contains known DNA, and they've ticked the no box. Now I read that two ways. It could be that no, law enforcement don't hold any evidence that contains known DNA, or it could read that they hold evidence that contains unknown DNA. That's how I could perceive it. Next, it says evidence that has not been tested could be subject to a DNA test. They've said yes. And finally, this case includes DNA evidence that should be preserved, and they've ticked the no box. And again, I read that in two ways. So either they have got DNA evidence that does not need to be preserved, or they haven't got any DNA evidence. This case includes DNA evidence that should be preserved. No. I hope that makes sense, my sort of thoughts on that and the two different ways of reading it. But either way, Christopher Watts has signed this plea deal. It doesn't say anything here about destroying it within a 12-month period, but the plea agreement was brought forward by the defence, wasn't it? Christopher Watts, his team, excuse me. It wasn't the prosecution, it wasn't DA Rzucek who came up with this plea deal. Not at all. It was the defence, Christopher Watts and his team. So how dare he criticise DA Rzucek and all the hard-working CBI, Frederick Police and the FBI, you know? It's just absolutely disgusting that he... Who's he to start criticising these hard-working men and women, you know? Oh, don't get me started. Anyway, the next thing is getting to the truth. Well, of course, excuse me, the Watts family will want the truth to be that Christopher Watts did not do this, or he didn't do it on his own. I can't understand why Christopher Watts would say that he did it, plead guilty to, what was it, 13 counts, and accept a life sentence without the possibility of parole if he didn't have any involvement, or if he had minimal involvement. But of course AD wants his narrative confirmed, so that's the narrative that the Watts family will be chasing, so he's going to go with it. And of course, if Chris Watts did ever speak again and say yes, NK was involved, yes, somebody else was involved, AD's going to be going mad, saying, I told you I was right, forgetting that all along he's been continually branding Christopher Watts a liar, quite rightly so. So would this one occasion be when Christopher Watts is then telling the truth because he's agreeing with AD? Or Chris Watts might come out and say, absolutely, I did it myself, which is what I believe. And then AD would be saying again that he's a liar. So I'm not quite sure where AD stands on this case anymore. He's now saying that I don't really want to talk about it too much, but I'm not going to talk about it. But why doesn't he focus on unsolved cases? Or, you know, there's a couple of cases that I'm aware of, and they could be investigated. Christian Andrakio and Lauren A.G. So Christian, his death was put down as a suicide, and there's a highly likely chance that it was actually murder. Sheila Wysocki did a podcast called Without Warning about Christian, as she did Lauren A.G., another very, very interesting case. So why doesn't he focus on something that is either unsolved or something where there really is a discrepancy, rather than spending all this time on this solved, closed case, and again causing the Rzucek family so much pain, distress and trauma. I'm not going to go getting all upset and angry again, so I'm going to leave it there, guys. So I guess my point was really is that, you know, Chris Watts used the wrong word, and it's very easy to do because AD said there was a trial, and there wasn't a trial, was there? So I'm not condemning him for it at all. I'm just saying how easy it is, you know, to use the wrong word. That's all. Okay, guys, I'm going to be going live tomorrow night, Tuesday, the 21st of April. I hope you can join me. Please do if you can, even if it's only for 5 minutes. I finally managed to teach myself how to do it all. Bear with me tomorrow because there might be, you know, I might mess it all up. But hopefully we'll be able to have a good chit chat about, you know, whatever you want to talk about, really. And I'm looking forward to getting to know you all better. So please join myself and Jackson Boo Boo, of course, tomorrow night if you can. I'll give you a heads up tomorrow. I'm not sure what time it'll be, but if you've got a preferred time, let me know in the comments, because I really don't mind what time. So thank you very much for sharing your time with me again this evening. I love you lots. Until tomorrow, bye bye.